Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Vidura's talks with Maitreya, text number 33 onwards. Kalamaya yogena bhagavad vikshitam nabaso anu sritam sparsham vikurvan nirmam enilam. Oh no, I think we missed, no, previous. Okay, sorry, text number 32. Tamso bhuta sukshma deryatah kham lingam atmanah. The sky is a product of sound, and sound is a transformation of egoistic ignorance. In other words, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. I know it is difficult, but let's go with whatever Prabhupada has written. In the Vedic hymns, it is said, Etasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhuta. The sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. Those who are egoistic in passion and ignorance cannot conceive of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. So far what it was, mind has been produced, manifested, and now from mind comes, another change happens in the Mahatattva, and the sky is produced. See, everything is coming from subtle to grosser and grosser. So sky, at least we see something up there, that is called sky. Although you cannot put a finger on it. And the sky is a product of sound. So sky and sound, or sky is also known as ether. They are linked because sound travels through sky. Sound travels in ether. And sound is a transformation of egoistic ignorance. How this transformation takes place, I have no idea. But this is what the shloka says. So they both are connected, sound and sky. Text 33. Kalamaya yogena bhagavad vikshitam navaso anusritam sparsham vikurvan nirmame anilam. Thereafter, this personality of Godhead glanced over the sky, partly mixed with eternal time and external energy, and thus developed the touch sensation from which the air in the sky was produced. Now from the sky, air is produced, and from the sound is one of the the sensation, you can say. For the sense organ, sound travels through sky, and now the air is produced and the touch sensation, because for touching, air is required. Whatever we feel about touching, that also it is said, if we remember, in the universal form of the Lord, the hair on the body, and then there is a thin layer of air around the skin, so that gives the touch sensation. So that is required for the touch. All material creations take place from subtle to gross. The entire universe has developed in that manner. From the sky developed the touch sensation, which is a mixture of eternal time, the external energy, and the glance of the personality of Godhead. So all these elements on their own, they don't mix, and no manifestation, no no change happens until there is a glance of the Supreme Lord, because a real energy or real impetus comes from that. The touch sensation developed into the air in the sky. Similarly, all other gross matters also developed from subtle to gross. Sound developed into sky, touch developed into air, and then comes the form. Form developed into fire, because in the fire, in the ether or sky, there is sound. Sound has no form, no shape, no touch, but the sound is there. Some sensory organ is required for that. And then comes the touch. Then comes the form. That form, some shape is there. So the fire is representative of that. And then comes the taste. And then comes the smell. So smell, within smell, smell develops into earth, taste develops into water, form developed into fire, touch developed into air, and sound developed into sky. Anilo api vikurvano navasor rubalanvitaha sasarja rupa tanamatram jyotir lokasya lochanam. Thereafter, the extremely powerful air interacting with the sky generated the form of sense perception, and the perception of form transformed into electricity, the light to see the world. Again, just go with it, that yes, this is how it all happened. Text 35. Anilenan vitam jyotir vikurvat parvikshitam adhattam bhorasmayam kala mayansha yogataha. When electricity was surcharged in the air and was glanced over by the Supreme at that time by a mixture of eternal time and external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste. So form and fire, or form and electricity, or form and light, you can say, happened, and then occurred creation of water and taste. We can also understand it in this way, that like solid, liquid, gas, and beyond gas there is, just imagine there is sky, ether. Now, if we just look at solid, liquid, gas, or even beyond gas is actually plasma, and beyond plasma is sky. So even if you just look at solid, liquid, gas, so what's the difference between solid and liquid? Two elements. The molecules of solid are tightly bound together, and the same molecules, when they are opened a little, means the force, the energy between the molecules, it's little less, then it becomes water, liquid. Then it is, when the energy or the strength of the bond between the two molecules even is lesser, it becomes air or gas. Oh, I'm sorry, gas, not air. And if it is even lesser, it becomes plasma or fire. And if it is even lesser, it becomes sky. So it's all a matter of energy, actually. Atoms, if we look at, it is said, atoms has what? Electrons, protons, neutrons, and now they're saying God particle also, which according to us is Paramatma sitting in every atom. So the mass of atom, there is nothing. Those who are students of chemistry and physics, they know the mass of atom, there is no mass. It's just energy. And when they're bound together, this energy is too much, too strong together, then it has some mass. It has some weight. So it's all a game of energy, how much they're bound together. Of course, scientists cannot explain how or where from the energy came. They say energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But where did it come from? That they cannot explain. That comes from the person standing behind me, Krishna. And he is looking from hiding behind the door. Just play around with this material energy and try to figure it out. And see how everything is developing. All by the mixture of eternal time and external energy and the glance of the Supreme, and then now created water and taste. Now taste is there, smell has to be there now. Next thing is smell. Jyotishambho anusran srishtam vikurvat brahma vikshitam mahin gandha guna madha kala maya shuyogataha. Thereafter, the water produced from electricity was glanced over by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and mixed with eternal time and external energy. Thus, it was transformed into the earth, which is qualified primarily by smell. From the description of the physical elements in the above verses, it is clear that in all stages, the glance of the Supreme is needed with the other additions and alterations. In every transformation, the last finishing touch is the glance of the Lord, who acts as a painter does when he mixes different colors to transform them into a particular color. When one element mixes with another, the number of its qualities increases. For example, the sky is the cause of air. The sky has only one quality, namely sound. But by the interaction of the sky with the glance of the Lord, mixed with eternal time and external nature or external energy, the air is produced, which has two qualities, sound and touch. Similarly, after the air is created, interaction of sky and air touched by time and external energy of the Lord produces electricity. Of course, electricity can also mean fire. And so in fire, there is sound, there is touch, and there is form. After the interaction of electricity with air and sky, mixed with time, external energy, and Lord's glance over them, the water is produced. And now in water, the previous qualities are all there. The sound, the touch, the form, and now in water it has taste. In the final stage of sky, there is only one quality, namely sound. In the air, two qualities, sound and touch. In the fire or electricity, three qualities, namely sound, touch, and form. In the water, four qualities, sound, touch, form, and taste. And in the last stage of physical development, the result is earth, which has all five qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Although they are different mixtures of different materials, such mixtures do not take place automatically. Just as a mixture of color does not take place automatically without the touch of the living painter. The automatic system is factually activated by the glancing touch of the Lord. Living consciousness is a final word in all physical changes. So without the living touch, without the touch of the Supreme, or him touching he just looks over it. And then everything happens. All the interactions start to happen. It's not that, oh, there was some big chunk and the Big Bang happened and because of Big Bang, all the planets came into existence, and because of the planet, somehow the life came on Earth. It's only on Earth, it's not on other planets. What kind of philosophy is that? Here everything is explained scientifically, even though it's hard for us to understand. I don't know how the scientists understand. Oh, Big Bang happened. Yes. And everybody claps. Yes, a Big Bang happened, and let's give Nobel Prize to everybody else. What nonsense. How can Big Bang happen without the touch of the Supreme Lord? Without a living entity, living touch being there? Living consciousness is the final word in all physical changes. This is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. The conclusion is that the physical elements may work wonderfully to the layman's eyes, but their workings actually take place under the supervision of the Lord. Those who can mark only the changes of the physical elements and cannot perceive the hidden hands of the Lord behind them are certainly less intelligent persons, although they may be advertised as great material scientists. So, without the personal touch of the Supreme Lord, without the glance or touch or His supervision, nothing can happen. Nothing. It's not that nature is working on its own. Even to produce all these elements, Bhagavatam again and again says the glance of the Supreme Lord is required. So then all these elements are produced. And then what happens? Text 37. Bhutanam nabh adinam yad yad vyavaravaram tesham paranu sansargatya yatha sankhyam gunan viduhu. O gentle one, of all the physical elements, beginning from the sky down to the earth, all the inferior and superior qualities are due only to the final touch of the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without that, nothing can happen. Text 38. Ete devah kala vishnu kala maya shalingina nanat vatsvya svakriyanisha prochu pranjalya vibhum. The controlling deity of all the above-mentioned physical elements are empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu. They are embodied by eternal time under the external energy, and they are his parts and parcels because they were entrusted with different functions of universal duties and were unable to perform them. They offered fascinating prayers to the Lord as follows. The conception of various controlling demigods who inhabit the higher planetary systems for the management of the universal affairs is not imaginary as proposed by persons with a poor fund of knowledge. The demigods are expanded parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and they are embodied by time, external energy, and partial consciousness of the Supreme. So demigods are expanded parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. We are separated parts and parcels of Supreme Lord Vishnu. So, just like in the beginning of creation, when Brahmaji appeared on this lotus flower, he didn't know what to do. He had no clue what to do, how to do, where to do, when to do. So he performed tapasya. So here it is said the demigods, even they don't know. So they are going to pray to the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is explaining the position of demigods. Human beings, animals, birds, etc. are also part and parcels of the Lord and have different material bodies, but they are not the controlling deities of material affairs. They are rather controlled by such demigods. Such control is not superfluous. It is as necessary as the controlling departments in the affairs of the modern state. Demigods should not be despised by the controlled living beings. They are all great devotees of the Lord, entrusted to execute certain functions of universal affairs. One may be angry with Yamraj for his thankless task of punishing sinful souls, but Yamraj is one of the authorized devotees of the Lord. And so are all the other demigods. So they are the authorized devotees, they are great devotees of the Lord. They're not ordinary persons. A devotee of the Lord is never controlled by such deputed demigods who function as assistants of the Lord, but he shows them all respects on account of the responsible positions to which they have been appointed by the Lord. Responsible positions, and for their service to the Lord, a devotee always pays respects to the demigods. At the same time, a devotee of the Lord does not foolishly mistake them to be the Supreme Lord. Only foolish persons accept the demigods as being on the same level as Vishnu. Actually, they are all appointed as servants of Vishnu. So they're very highly elevated souls. They're given these services of managing the spiritual, managing the affairs of this material universe as a service to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Anyone who places the Lord and the demigods on the same level is called a Pashandi or atheist. The demigods are worshipped by persons who are more or less adherents of the process of jnana, yoga, and karma. That is, the impersonalists, meditators, and fruitive workers. The devotees, however, worship only the Supreme Lord Vishnu. This worship is not for any material benefit, as desired by the materialist, even up to the salvationist. The Lord is equal to every living entity, just like the flowing Ganges. Ganges water is meant for the purification of everyone. Yet the trees on the banks of Ganges have different values. A mango tree on the bank of Ganges drinks the water, and the nimba tree also drinks the same water. But the fruits of both trees are different. One is celestially sweet, and the other is hellishly bitter. The condemned bitterness of the nimba is due to its own past work, just as the sweetness of the mango. The envious, the mischievous, the lowest of mankind, these do I ever put into the ocean of material existence. So demigods like Yamaraj and other controllers are there for the unwanted conditioned souls who always engage in threatening the tranquility of the kingdom of God. Since all the demigods are confidential devotees, servitors of the Lord, they are never to be condemned. So they are there just to serve the Lord in his in managing the affairs of his material universe. But they should not be considered as an equal level. And also in Bhagavad Gita, we have studied whatever the benedictions demigod gives, actually the power comes from the Supreme Lord. It just, we don't see that in the whole affair. And also the life of demigods, they rule for one Manvantar, 71 Chatur Yugas. So from our life compared to our lives, their lives are very, very long. So that's why those who don't have proper knowledge, then they think that these demigods are eternal. They are not. They are just, their position, different positions, and different living entity occupies that position for a given manvantar. Of course, some of the positions are not positions, they are persons. Like Lord Shiva is not a position, it's a person. And nobody can become Shiva or Hanuman or Durga. Nobody can become that. They are the persons. But there are 33 crore demigods. There are so many positions vacant. Vacant for the next millennium. If somebody wants, he can become. Also, there was one message I have seen floating around. It says 33 koti of demigods. So that person translated koti as category. Of course, koti also means crore. Koti can also mean category, and koti can mean something else also. So according to him, and that message is going on very widely, that there are 33 categories of demigods, not 33 crore. And according to his calculation or his understanding, or misinterpretation, they cannot be 33 crore. Why we need 33 crore? But Prabhupada, not here, but other places, in his conversations, he has explained there 33 crore, 330 million demigods, because such a huge universe to manage the affairs of the whole universe, we need such a big government system. Just like even in India, there are so many departments, so many states, so many authorities, so many things to be taken care of. So many government officials are there. So why not all over the universe? In fact, all our body parts, each and every single part of our body is controlled by one demigod. The blinking of the eye, for example, the blinking of eye It's called Nimesh, and that is controlled by a demigod called Maharaj Nimi. And just like when we were studying the universal form of the Lord, so one point was the evacuation is controlled by Aryama. So there's so many organs within our body. Everything is controlled. So there's so many departments in the whole universe. Everything has to be controlled. Just like if we have read the story of Sanatana Goswami and Lord Shiva at Govardhan, Chakleshwar, near Chakleshwar Mahadev. So when Sanatana Goswami was there, he used to do his bhajan, and one day he was going to leave, and Mahadev, Lord Shiva, came running. He said, "Baba, where are you going? I used to love your bhajan, and I would sit there, listen to your bhajan." But Sanatana Goswami said, "Well, I want to, but the problem is here there are too many mosquitoes and they bother me." So Shivji said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." So he called the demigod who is in charge of the mosquitoes. And he said, "I don't want any mosquitoes around here. So remove them." So there is a demigod in charge of mosquitoes. There could be a demigod in charge of different insects, 8,400,000 species. And in every species, there are so many different varieties. So there could be demigod in charge of mosquito, and then there's a demigod in charge of different organs, different parts of that mosquito. So 33 crore is not an exaggerated figure. It's not a made-up figure. It is quite right. It's not just 33 categories of demigods. So we'll stop here, and tomorrow we'll study how the demigods are praying to the Supreme Lord to understand their roles. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. I guess it's too much technical knowledge. So we'll stop here. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.